From the indictment of Russian military intelligence officers that was released a week ago today, there is something that has been sticking in my craw. This is the part of the indictment that I'm talking about. Quote, it says, in or around September 2016, the conspirators, meaning Russian military intelligence, they also successfully gained access to DNC computers hosted on a third-party cloud computing service. These computers contained test applications related to the Democratic Party's analytics. Now, the indictment says that the Russians in military intelligence, the GRU officers, they took snapshots of that data, they stole that data from the Democratic Party. But if the Russians did that, if they were able to steal basically the math from the Democrats' campaign, the analytics, the strategy as Democrats had planned it out, that late in the game in September 2016, once they had it, that would put Russian intelligence in a position to deploy that information directly themselves to help Trump win, or conceivably, they could hand that over to the Trump campaign. So the Trump campaign could, make its plans accordingly, alter their own plans to account for having the Democrats' game plan stolen for them by Russian military intelligence. This is what's sticking in my craw. From the indictment, again, we know that particular hack of the analytics of the DNC, it happened September 2016. What happened right after that? Well, in early October, the Trump campaign surprisingly announced a radical change in its campaign strategy. Campaign spokesman saying, quote, you see the date there, October 7th? Quote, our data-driven campaign is shifting resources from overperforming markets to new battlegrounds within the battlegrounds. They canceled more than $1.6 million of ad buys in 8 traditional battleground states. Instead, for the first time, they started buying campaign ads in places they'd never campaigned before, like Wisconsin. They started increasing their time and focus on Michigan. And ever since, the Trump campaign has bragged about the genius behind that late campaign shift, behind that decision.
I took every nickel and dime I could out of anywhere else, and I moved it to Michigan and Wisconsin. And I started buying advertising, digital, TV.
But you began to make the decision, am I correct, to send Trump in there?
I started definitely giving people saying we need to go.
And maybe it really was just pure lightning bolt genius. And part of that data-driven strategy in those states was digital ads aimed at shrinking rather than expanding the electorate, aimed at keeping Hillary voters at home. A senior Trump official told Bloomberg at the time, quote, we have 3 major voter suppression operations underway. These efforts are aimed at 3 groups that Clinton needs to win overwhelmingly: idealistic white liberals, young women, and African Americans. I mean, whether that shrink the electorate strategy had anything to do with the fact that somebody had hacked the Clinton campaigns and the Democratic Party's data and had all their analytics, I mean, obviously we don't know. But as top Clinton campaign team members are now pointing out, quote, if they had access to our data from the September analytics hack, they'd have a great roadmap for how to do that, for how to suppress the Hillary Clinton vote that she needed in order to win. So there's that fight, playing out now on new terms, given what we've learned from that big indictment. But I want to point out another underappreciated and nerve-rattling portion of this last Mueller indictment. That's next.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.